Hello, everybody, and welcome back to a brand new episode of the NASCAR Heat 5 Career Mode. Hope you're all having a great day. Today, we have racing in all four series: the Legends, the Trucks, the Xfinity Series, as well as the Cup Series. And we have all four series coming up in the next episode as well. And we start things off here in the Legends Series at Jefferson Raceway for a dirt road course here now. As we started towards the back of the field, unfortunately, but we do obviously have some good road racing experience. So even when it's on dirt, I feel like we can put up usually a decent effort now. Unfortunately, I can tell you it didn't go as good as I was hoping it would. It went overall decent, but I would be able to make some moves here 3 wide in these first few corners, get up towards the top 10, and we got up to 8th place, but that was as far as we got. We cut straight through to the very end of this race here, now battling with the number 48 7-time NASCAR champion and Jimmy Johnson there, as we put a bit of a slide job on him there and actually would turn him around out of the corner, unfortunately, but we would come through to finish in the 7th position here in the NASCAR Legend Series playoff race. So that sets us up decently for the playoff situation, but definitely not a perfect situation for us going with that. We definitely have some work to do, as Austin Dillon picked up the win over Jeff Gordon. Stenhouse, I believe, was the highest playoff driver there in the top 3. As we're going to now head to the Truck Series at Bristol Motor Speedway, where we have community member of Scott Howard behind the wheel of our Ford F-150. Not sure exactly how I could potentially work in community members in our truck in the future for NASCAR 21 Ignition when I use iRacing for the Trucks and Xfinity series, but I can tell you right now that I'm definitely looking into possible ways to make that happen. So stay tuned when we get around to that career mode starting now, as we had a really good race here in Bristol with Scott Howard behind the wheel. He got up to 2nd place within the first couple of laps, and then it was just a matter of time until he was alongside the 98 to take the lead from him into turn 3 and turn 4. So he would be able to just take the lead and drive away, and that was it. We come through to the final lap of this race out of turn 4. Scott Howard picks up the first win for the Going Racing team in the playoffs here this season and locks us into the next round. That I believe this was an elimination race, though, so that's not going to lock us into the round of 4, unfortunately, but we will now have 5 more playoff points going into that next round of the playoffs now, as we will check out the playoff grids for all 4 series at the end of this episode as we come through into now the Xfinity Series. Same track, Bristol Motor Speedway, with Daniel Suarez behind the wheel of our Yellow Heart Ford Mustang. Now, unfortunately, we didn't have our short track chassis fully built for this race, so we were quite a bit off the pace with Suarez behind the wheel. Now, he wasn't terrible. He was able to work his way up towards the top 10 before this race did come to a close, and we're going to come straight through to the final lap of this race, where he was running in 11th place here into turn 3 there at the 11 of AJ Allmendinger on the inside out of turn 4, though Suarez just going to barely get him at the line to get that final spot inside the top 10 here for the Food City 300. So not a great race for Suarez, but it was enough there. Now, as you see, Kimi Räikkönen picked up the victory in Bristol now, as we're going to shift our focus towards a Cup Series race at the Charlotte Roval, one of my most successful tracks of all time in our NASCAR Heat career mode, one of my favorite tracks as well to drive, and we have one final race at that track here today now in Charlotte as we would get qualifying underway. I was hoping we could try and get the pole here for the final time, so it's going to be tough to get that. You really have to nail the lap, and there's a couple mistakes here and there, but this is definitely the best qualifying lap I've set in quite some time at the Charlotte Roval. So I knew it was going to be close as we came to the bus stop. A bit of a mistake right there, slip up there, but we come through. Now the final chicane got pretty aggressive, could have been way more aggressive than I was, but we crossed the line with a 1:16.966, and we come up just short of the pole in qualifying on 2nd row in P3 there for the Charlotte Roval 400, about 0.3 of a second behind Chase Elliott, who's on pole, and he has been unbelievably strong lately. Can he pull off the win today? I don't think he's ever won at a road course in a NASCAR Heat 5 career, but he's got 2 more opportunities to do so starting today in the elimination race at the Charlotte Roval. One final race at the Charlotte Roval here, and it is an important one for the majority of the field. It is the elimination race of the round of 16. Just 12 drivers will remain in the playoffs after today. Have fun today, everyone. We're looking good, so let's just go and try and win it. There you hear myself on the radio to the team here as we're ready to take the green flag for the Bank of America Roval 400 here now at Charlotte Motor Speedway. one of my favorite tracks, like I said, to drive in. Cannot wait to get my hands on this track on NASCAR 21 Ignition when that releases now, as the road course racing looks like a blast just based off of how those cars drive, based off of what we've seen with the little bits of gameplay at least. Now, who knows, it could be terrible, but I'm hoping for the best now, as it definitely looked promising here as we are ready to go green from row number 2. Behind that, number 9, Napa Auto Parts Chevrolet Camaro McLaren of Chase Elliott as the green flag is out, and the round of 16 elimination race is underway. Just 7 races remain after today now, as we are closing in on the very end of this NASCAR Heat 5 career mode series. At the inside of second place there, the 84 of Chris Buescher. We're going to be alongside here through these next few corners now as we look to get up into that runner-up position as soon as we can. Now, unfortunately, right there, I go a little bit wide, and that allows that Red Bull driver to actually get clear of me. Buescher been on a bit of a cooldown period, you could kind of say, here lately now, as we haven't seen as much dominance and as much pace out of him over the last probably 6, 7, 8 races or so here, and it's kind of shifted towards that 9 instead of Chase Elliott, who's been heating up at the perfect time, and here he is at the Charlotte Roval, already pulling a gap here on the whole field here now, as we're right on the back bumper of that Red Bull. We are, of course, watching the playoff situation and whatnot. Now, we come into today's episode 49 points above the cut line, so we don't really have to worry about anything. We can have a terrible race and still make it into the next round. Chris Buescher, who's just in front of us, is already locked in mathematically. Lewis Hamilton won by winning the first race of the playoffs. Chase Elliott is 57 points above the cut line coming into this race, so if he ends up winning stage 1, he's pretty much going to be mathematically locked in now. As we're looking towards the bottom of the cut line, though, Kyle Busch 10 points above the cut line, and then you got Ty Gibbs, who's 2 points above the cut line. Josh Berry 2 below. Blaney 6 points below. Kyle Larson, who's just behind us, is 7 points out, and right now he's running good enough to where he could point his way in today. Sam Mayer 20 points out. He's pretty much in a must-win scenario. Ryan Preece in the more comfort area, 16 points above the cut line, and then you got Christian Eckes, the defending champion, 18 points above. So something we'll keep an eye on as this race unfolds here now, as we were trying to run down Chase Elliott now, as we were able to work our way up into the second position, passing that number 84 of Chris Buescher now, and sure enough, we were closing that gap to that Napa Auto Parts Chevrolet, but not quite quick enough, coming to 2 laps to go here already in this first and opening stage. First 2 stages, as you guys know, in the Charlotte Roval, and at any road course for that matter, are very, very short, and I'm looking at running 50% races actually on NASCAR 21 Ignition, simply because we are going to be doing less episodes. We're going to be doing about 3 episodes per week instead of 5 or so, so cutting back just a little bit, basically kind of a every other day kind of thing. So that opens the door to do longer races, which allows it to have a more dynamic and just transitioning feel throughout the race, and it's not just so quick and you have to be right on it the whole race and pushing as hard as you can, and it adds to the immersion a little bit more, and I think it'll just be way better to go that way. Down the back straightaway, though, here into that bust-up chicane for the final time in Stage 1. Chase Elliott dominant here so far now, as I think we have a car capable of contending with Chase, but we just got to hit our marks, and unfortunately, in those last couple of laps there in Stage 1, we really didn't hit our marks to our full capabilities, to say the least, here as we exit oval turn 4 down into the final chicane here, as Elliott will come through to win Stage 1. We come through to get a solid second place finish, but that's not going to do us anything. Today is not about making the next round. We know we're going to make it. We just need to try and build up playoff points for that next round, and we haven't done that at all this round, as it's been an interesting round of the playoffs, to say the least. Martinsville, we threw away a win. We picked up 2 playoff points with 2 stage wins at least, but other than that, it hasn't been great. No pit stops necessary here, as we are going to just get ready for Stage 2, but there is some drama leading into the second stage that I will mention as soon as we come back here, as Chase Elliott wins Stage 1 from the Charlotte Roval. I mentioned some drama towards the end of Stage 1, and it's a playoff contender, Ryan Preece. 16 points above the cut line coming into today's elimination race. He is out. That's right. Preece is out of this race as we start Stage 2 now. He could be out of the playoffs at the end of today's. We're down into turn 1 a little bit too deep into the Tums Heartburn turn, and we're going to get bitten by the Tums Heartburn turn now as we go into the barrier. Thank goodness we did not hit it too hard there, and fortunately we keep on going with very minimal damage.
Just keep her cool here, Gary.
I honestly think that might be the first time that I've actually outbraked myself into the first turn at the Charlotte Roval. I might be wrong, but that's the only time I can remember actually doing that. So thank goodness we didn't actually go way too deep into the corner. I was trying to hopefully outbrake the 9 of Elliott and get around him in turn 1, of course, but obviously I braked a little bit too late. So fortunately, we didn't do too much damage to the car, but unfortunately, it definitely did enough to where it was affecting the performance and the handling of the car. So I definitely didn't have the pace that I did in stage 1, and I knew at this point it was all just about trying to hang on and survive to the end of stage 2 and try to gain a few points here and there on, say, Bubba Wallace in the 23 car now, as we're going to pass him into oval turn 1 and then try to run down Lewis Hamilton there in that number 44. This is a big race for Lewis Hamilton as he was side by side with the 45 of Derek Cross. We're going to actually take them 3 wide, but Lewis got his first ever Cup Series win at this very race last season, and ever since then he has been on it, winning the Daytona 500, winning 4 or 5 races this season as well in general. So it's been an unbelievable season for Lewis Hamilton. As you see me make a mistake right there, left the door open for the 45 of Kraus to go around my left hand side, and then we get in front of him again, and the 23 of Bubba Wallace would actually come through to pass him. Now the two teammates there at 23-11 going at it now as we were coming up on the final lap already of stage 2. Chase Elliott again, long gone. Nobody has anything for him except for, in my opinion, myself here today now, as we're going to look to the right hand side of Hamilton as we start the final lap of stage 2 here now, as he's going to go a little bit deeper into turn 1. I'm going to try and switch back on him here now as we go up the left hand side into turn 2. Larson up here in 4th, Gibbs in 3rd. Both of those drivers need good points days to make sure they make it into the round of 12, and they're both having exactly that. Gibbs here in P3, Larson 4th, who came in 7 points, I think it was, below the cut line, and he's doing exactly what he needs to be doing to make it into this round of 12 here today now, as we head down into this bus stop final for the final time here in stage 2 now. Chase Elliott already into oval 3. You see Chris Buescher there in that runner-up 2nd position now, as we continue to hold off that number 44 of Lewis Hamilton here now as we come through oval 3. Out of oval 4, Chase Elliott dominant so far here today in the Bank of America Roval 400. He sweeps the first 2 stages. We come through the final chicane, and we're going to at least recover after our mistake in turn 1 on lap 1 for a 5th place finish. But the story is Ryan Preece out of this race. This is huge for him, and he's going to have to hope that somebody in the playoffs has some trouble if he wants to make it into that next round. As if someone has trouble, it could get pretty close, and he might still have a chance to advance into the round of 12 after what's been a strong season for Preece for Penske Racing in that number 2 car. But Chase Elliott comes through to sweep the first 2 stages in the Charlotte Roval as we get ready for stage 3. Welcome back here from the Charlotte Roval, ready to go green for the start of the 3rd and final stage. We had to make some repairs to the car under the pit lane, so we dropped 5 spots down to P10 as we have our work cut out for us here in stage 3. And for the start of stage 3, it is time to get amped in the Charlotte Roval. There you have the AMP segment from 10th to 6th place in just one opening lap here in Stage 3. Chase Elliott continues to dominate now as we're all over the back of that DoorDash Toyota Camry 2311 driver of Bubba Wallace. Now a move to the left-hand side, obviously not going to work right there, but we gave it a shot anyways here as we just settle in and wait for the right opportunity to make a pass on him. And that wouldn't come until now the start of lap 19 out of turn 1 here, an opportunity to lick up his inside into turn 2, and sure enough, we're going to pull it off here side by side with Bubba Wallace down into turn 3, but fortunately we will pull it off right there as we go a little bit wide though into turn 4, and that opens the door back open, but we close it again here on the exit of 4. So up into 5th place we go. We run down Kyle Larson, we run down Ty Gibbs, having to be very careful running around a guy like Kyle Larson, Bubba Wallace, Ty Gibbs, because they're all not comfortably above the cut line or below the cut line. So we got to be, like I said, very careful racing these guys. But we pass the 5, no problem, and then immediately put the fight to Ty Gibbs here a few moments later. Now down into turn 1, we're going to be side by side with him, and this is going to be an easy pass. We're going to easily move up into that 3rd position as we just ever so slightly scrape that right-hand concrete barrier now as we would run down the 84 of Chris Buescher. We were setting faster lap times at this point than Chase Elliott. We were battling through traffic and still running down the 9. That was building my confidence higher and higher every single lap that was passing by. All over the back of that 84, but I was having a tough time actually being able to make a pass on this 84 Red Bull car, and I was just hoping that something was going to open up maybe right here, but I knew we can't really go side by side into the bus stop chicane, so I actually have to wait it out right there, and we get right to the back of the 84 now in lap 22, starting to get a little bit aggressive, some physicality right there, giving him the bumper now as I'm trying to say, let's get a move on with it or get out of my way. I'm trying to run down the 9 of Chase Elliott, trying to get to his inside right there, couldn't quite pull it off. Elliott still way down the line here, as we know it's going to be very, very tough to run him down, as I am right on that back bumper of that 84 on the exit of Oval 2 here. Now, knowing I can't make a move down into this bus stop, it would just be silly. So now out of Oval Turn 4, I see an opportunity opening up here now as we're actually going to send it here up the inside way too deep into the chicane. We're going to slam head on into the final barrier. Now a huge shunt from myself. I am so stupid and sorry. I should have waited for the right moment. That was just a silly, stupid, too aggressive move from myself, and we destroyed the front end of this car, and immediately we have to bring this thing to the pit lane. Nobody can make it to the end of this race, so everybody still has to pit, and obviously I was limping this car around. We bring it into the pit lane, and we would actually spend 17 seconds on the pit lane, and just by putting a splash of fuel on the car, and the rest was repairs. There was like 15 seconds of repairs, basically, so that was frustrating because I knew we just threw every single chance of winning this race we had away there because I got too impatient and I decided to just send it on the 84 of Buescher. But we easily run down the back of the pack, no problem, within a couple of laps here, 5 laps to go in this race. And of course, we have found ourselves dealing with Joey Logano before this race comes to an end, and he's all the way down in P33 having a miserable race. But if it stays green, Chase Elliott easily going to cruise to victory here. Passing the 22 of Logano, and actually had to give him a nice little door slam as we were coming through there. Now as we also passed the 24 of William Byron there. Now is on lap 27 though, down into the bus stop chicane. There was some issues there for Ty Gibbs in front of us. He's going to turn the 84 of Chris Buescher as he slams head on into the barrier. Bubba Wallace involved. No caution comes out. Playoff implications right off the bat as that opens the door for Ryan Preece to actually still advance into the next round, because now Gibbs has had issues. He's gotten points. Is he out of this race? I don't even know yet. 2 laps to go, and now pit stops were in full swing. Elliott would eventually actually take the lead back here as we were coming to the final lap. The caution never came out, so we were just holding on here at this point here for what was looking like a 13th place finish. But now the question is, what does the playoff scenario and situation look like here? And we're about to find out within about a minute and a half now to see who is in, who is out, Preece or Gibbs. That's the question. They're both close on points, so it's going to be interesting to see who is going to get that final spot here now, as we have Chase Elliott leading the way out of Oval Turns 2 and heading down to that bus stop chicane for the final time now, as we're not even going to get a top 10 here today in the Charlotte Roval after that big shunt from myself here now, as we actually catch the barrier right there now, as that sticks out and can get you at any moment if you just make a slight misjudgment there as we come through Oval 1. And I didn't even know if Ty Gibbs was still in the race or not. I'm not sure if he's still on track, if he just came into the pit lane and fixed it, but it looks like I see an extra dot on the pit lane on the track map. I think Ty Gibbs is out of this race. Chase Elliott wins in the Charlotte Roval, and now as we head down through into Oval 3 and 4 for the final time, what a race it was here in Charlotte. It had its, calm moments and it had its crazy moments. And unfortunately, a couple of those crazy moments actually were to do with me here as we come through this final chicane. It's going to be a P13 finish here in the Bank of America Roval 400. But what happened with the playoff grid? You see Ty Gibbs nowhere near the top 10. Kyle Larson got P3. He might advance into the next round of the playoffs. And like I said, we're about to find out here in just a second. Sam Mayer, P15, not going to be enough for him. Kyle Busch, 17th. He should be in the next round of the playoffs. Blaney, for sure, is eliminated here today. At least we know for a fact he's done as well as Sam Mayer. And you see Gibbs, P39, Priest 40, but it's going to be the stage points that make the difference. Is Gibbs in, or is he going to be out of the playoffs? Let's find out right now to see what the situation is. It's going to be a tie between Priest and Gibbs, but Priest wins the tiebreaker. Kyle Larson advances, Kyle Busch as well, Sam Mayer, Josh Berry, Ryan Blaney, as well as Ty Gibbs, all eliminated now. As wow, I thought Gibbs was going to make it, and obviously, if he didn't have that accident, or maybe if one other car DNF'd in this race, he would have advanced probably into that next round of the playoffs. Heartbreak for Ty Gibbs, to say the least, and you see the other playoff grids for the other series and what they look like. Now, of course, the playoff grid is set for the Cup Series. In the next round here, for the round of 12, we are only 9 points above the cut line going into one of my worst mile-and-a-half tracks on the schedule. And then we have Darlington. Well, we know that one can go either way. And then, of course, we have Talladega, another one that can go either way as well. So this is going to be a tough round in the playoffs. As always, if you guys enjoyed, you know what to do. I'd like to thank you all for taking the time of your day to watch this episode. And I want to say thank you to the members of MJ, Joseph 9001, Timothy Arline, Hayes Gaming, Brett Durward, Dark Gengar Gaming, AJ Visura, Russell Dixon, Kenneth Barnett, Dana9302, Speed Demon 341, Ellis Emery, as well as Jay Fitz. I appreciate you guys' support so much, and I'll see you all in the next one. Have a great day, everybody.